blast off.
Yeah, blast off indeed. Welcome everyone. This is episode 6. I should have checked that
Sure.
before we started. I think it's
Nope.
episode 6.
Wait. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
betting it's
episode five.
episode 6. That's what I'm
Keegan was
betting.
episode 5.
Were they?
Yeah.
So this is episode. You are right, sir. Man, I should have just trusted my gut. This is episode 6 of a little show called SKYLINE, where I talk to friends, family potentially. I think around Christmas I'm gonna do interviews with my family and just like hold them in stock for weeks when I didn't have time to record or something. I'll just put out
Yeah.
one of them.
Hold your family or hold your episodes?
Hold my family episodes where I would interview
Oh.
each of my family members. Yeah, I think that'll be fun. Like I'll do one for my brother, my dad, my mom. I think it'll be good.
Aw.
Yeah, like around Christmas time. I think it'd just be nice to have, and wholesome, hopefully, and all around good.
That being said, can I just say really quick?
Yeah, go for
It
it.
reminded me of a story that's on my mind. I
Go for
haven't
it.
been able to stop thinking about it for the past week. But for my bar mitzvah, because I had a bar mitzvah when I was 13, which is
Yeah.
like one of the first Jews I did my whole life.
Mhm.
And my parents had me interview all of my family members on what it means to be a man.
Oh,
That's a real gross thing to do. I would not recommend.
interviewing about what it means to be a man. I mean, do you have it recorded, or was it like you wrote down responses?
I think I did both,
Wow.
but I was 12, so it was awkward as heck. It was
That is
so
weird.
bad. Like, also, I don't know what the show is rated, but
What, this one?
yeah.
I mean, it's whatever. Like I'm as the esteemed host will hold back, but like you pop off. I you do what you
Okay.
like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this isn't even my voice, so it's fine.
Mhm.
I was interviewing my grandpa.
Yeah.
About what it means to be a man,
Okay,
and I wrote down questions. And he was like having some like Alzheimer's dementia at the time, so he had no filter.
Yeah.
And but also everything was awkward. Anyway, I asked him, the final question I asked him was, what's your favorite part about like your relationship with grandma?
With whom?
And
With
your
grandma?
marriage. Yeah, with grandma,
Yeah.
with your marriage, what's like the best part about being married to her?
Mhm.
He like looked off into the distance and he's like, the sex is really good.
Just
And
the
that was-
blatant honesty of that, though. That's kind of
And that was all he said.
all he said.
Yeah, that was it.
Good.
And then there was just silence for like 5 minutes.
Because you were 12.
Yeah,
You
I
couldn't-
wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, you couldn't just like now you'd be like, ha, nice, and then you'd move on. You'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, okay, brush off the shoulder, like, cool.
Oh no, I would engage him with that. I would,
Yeah.
I would ask him a question.
Oh, okay, some prodding questions. But is he still around? Are you able to?
No,
Nah.
sadly, our lines
Mhm.
were I was still an awkward, weird, embarrassed teen boy, tween,
Yeah.
when he was in his prime of the answers to questions.
Mm. Dang.
So I truly out.
We might try. For those who are listening, we do currently have our cameras on. We might try turning them off because you are cutting out occasionally. Not too bad.
No,
I know, it's a bummer.
but I love seeing your beautiful face. What am I gonna do without your Thor?
You know
hair?
what? We'll
Stand up?
we will keep it for a bit because it hasn't been too disrespectful, I don't think. Besides, like this is not yet. I mean, maybe later down the line it'll be a show of quality, but it is not yet a show of esteemed quality.
I mean, we have an esteemed host and an esteemed guest.
That is true.
So
Speaking of, for those who don't know, who are you? Because I'm Matt, as everyone should know by now. Matt, the host, the guy who runs the channel for the most part. Like, who are you?
I'm Grub
You're Grub what?
Adam.
Grub Adam. Okay.
Yeah, that's my professional title. I've been trying to
Amazing.
emphasize.
Yeah.
I also I've been trying on a couple nicknames. Can I run them by you?
Yeah, run them by me. I'll tell you. Wait, run them by me one at a time, and I will rank them out of like 5.
Okay, I have very limited nicknames right now,
Gotcha.
but like, let me.
I'll rank them out of 5, one at a time.
All right. So first is Grub Adam. It's my basic.
Grub Adam, I feel like that's a 4 out of 5. That's a decent nickname. Yeah, it's a good Grub
Okay.
Adam. Hey, it's Grub Adam.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
see?
decent. Yeah.
Okay. Then another one I've been trying on for size. I was given this one.
Okay, those are always the best ones. The ones you're given.
Okay, so this better be a 5 then.
Yeah, better. I mean, I don't know yet. It might be horrible, but we'll see.
So I've been going by Mommy Rat.
Okay, that is a solid 3.
Solid 3.
Yeah, well, because I could imagine a situation where you would be colloquially known as Mommy Rat.
Oh, please do. Please imagine it for me.
Well, okay. Let's say we're in like a situation where everyone's like, yeah, let's do this thing. Because these times do happen. There are times where, I mean, much to many people's stereotyping of you, Adam, much against it, there are times where Adam is the person who's like, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in those times, you are Mommy Rat. In those times when you're like, maybe not.
Like maybe too far kind of thing?
Yeah, like when we were doing Create a Game during the show, and I whispered, we have the F word hasn't been used yet. Should we do it? And you went, probably not. You were Mommy Rat in that moment. You were like, no.
Aww.
Yeah, see? So, but it's a 3, because you aren't always Mommy Rat. You're only, on occasion, Mommy Rat, and there's probably better nicknames to fit that element of you. I don't want to know, but yeah. So far we've got 4 with Grub Adam, 3 with Mommy Rat. What are the other nicknames you got?
Okay, real quick.
Yeah. We can proceed.
In the situation, in the situation in which I was Mommy Rat in that improv scene.
Sure.
Or like in that interaction that we had, would you be Baby Rat? Is that what you're implying?
I mean, yeah, I would be. I'd be like or Sun Rat. Baby
Sun
Rat, Sun Rat, Child Rat.
Oh, I like Sun Baby Rat, like the Sun Baby
Rat. Baby Sun Rat.
Ooh, yeah, that's the one. That's
baby Boy Rat.
That's it. I'm changing your contact in my phone to Baby Boy Rat after this.
That is now, I would rank that a 3 out of 5 nickname, Baby Boy Rat.
Wow, I'm on par with Mommy Rat.
Well, because I think it depends on the situation, you know? 3 is very middle of the ground. If I give a 2 or 1, it's like that should never be used on any occasion.
Honestly, I'm impressed. Yeah. That's the best reaction Mommy Rat's ever done.
5 is when it's like you should only be referred to as that. You know.
All right. Well, let me run this one.
Let's run this next one. Yeah.
This is, I think, my last one.
Oh, okay.
I've been thinking of. Well, okay, yeah. This is my last one.
Gotcha. I'll rank it.
There's one more, but it's a little.
Is it spicy?
I think this one's spicy personally.
Oh, okay.
I think,
okay. It'll get either points deducted or added accordingly.
Yeah, not rude spicy.
Oh, okay.
Spicy. Just spicy as in like it gets my heart aflutter.
Okay.
So you know, like those little figurines, the Hunko-Pop.
The Hunko-Pops, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I should permanently change my nickname to Hunko-Pop. Yeah.
That's layered. That is layered. Because here's the thing, Adam. You are not, by definition, a hunk.
It's me.
But.
Do you see these muscles?
But. You're not far off.
For the audio listeners, I just flexed my muscles and they rippled through my shirt.
Yeah, he no longer has a sleeve. It's gone.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you are epitomately close, which is why I think Hunko-Pop works.
Wow.
I would give that. Oh man, it's probably another 4 out of 5 because I couldn't see myself calling you Hunko-Pop all the time. You know what I mean? Well, actually,
I mean that's like a situation where you would.
Yeah, because in that point I need to distinguish when I would. I mean, definitely if you did anything hunky whatsoever.
Okay, so like, Oh, hello, Matthew. I've just I've I've just saved this child from a burning building.
Thank you,
And
Hunko-Pop.
I'm just saying, I think it's the one.
It is. I'll say this: it is better than Grub Adam. It is a better nickname than Grub Adam. Maybe a four. I may just have to cave and go 5 out of 5 because I am actually thinking about it. I could totally just call you Hunko-Pop all the time. In fact, that'll be the name of this episode. It'll be Hunko-Pop.
Excellent.
That'll be the name. And for further
It's an honor.
context to who this man Hunko-Pop is, he also goes by Adam, and
Yeah.
he is already on 2 other videos that are on this channel. They're both fresh airs, where he's seen saying a song. We sat in a field and recorded those.
It was a blast.
Yeah, and his songs are, or his Spotify is in the description of those. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's what you do, and I think I asked you if I should. You were like, go for it.
Hmm?
I asked you if I, yeah, and you said go
Oh,
for it.
it's very legal for you to promote my Spotify.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take it.
I mean, if nothing else, it's more so. I don't know how much promotion is going that way, but hey, if even one person goes over, I guess that's a promotion enough.
Exactly. That's my target audience.
One person,
Mm-hmm.
that's good. My
I will make one.
my target audience is like myself and my friends. That's my target, and I guess my parents. I haven't linked my parents to channel yet, and I really should
Really?
because they'd love to hear like my voice and all the wacky stuff we do. So
Heck yeah, bring them in.
yeah, I should do. Um, so that's Adam. Is there anything else you want to like introduce yourself with? Like what do you do? Who are you? You know,
Okay.
what is it? What's the term we learned when you introduce yourself? It's like, is it
Oh,
Ganap? Ganap.
I don't remember any of the
It's
words
greetings, name, purpose is the last one. What's A? It's association, maybe.
I think it's Adam.
Yeah, but
Greetings. Name Adam.
mhm.
Purpose.
What is your purpose here?
My purpose here in this call is to sneak in as many compliments about your beard as possible.
Okay, you
My
kind of
purpose
dropping the
in
ball on
life?
that one.
No, I'm trying to wait.
Okay, yeah, you're holding it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bubbling up inside.
For sure.
But my purpose in life
Mhm.
is to, I don't know, like I guess gain superpowers from my friends and then distribute those, like use those superpowers to like, I don't know, have fun adventures and like help people out.
Oh wow, look at that! It's literally what you literally just said is my purpose in life is to acquire the power of friendship. Um, and use that
Pretty sure
power.
that's Steven Universe.
Yeah, and anime in general, and well, lots of anime, not every anime, but you know, well, that's an aspiring goal, and maybe, well, I'm intrigued by that. So maybe we'll jump into that, but I do want to start off with just sort of something that I think everyone has been noticing about you lately. Anyone who's in your life has been noticing about you lately, and that's that
Ooh.
you've been like super productive when it comes to your sort of I guess artistic pursuits in terms of your music and the stuff you've been making. Like I've been noticing a lot more. I think ever since quarantine started, you've been really hitting it home. You've done some like didn't you do some like improv rap stuff or improv music stuff?
Yeah, I'm going all for it at this point.
Yeah.
Quarantine's done me with like messing around. I'm getting down and dirty.
Well, I guess
into the music.
That's the question, because recently you made a cover video, right, of Yellow, right? By who? Who was the original? Coldplay, right. And then which was really good. Then you did a Halloween song called, what was it called again? I know it had to do with furries, but I don't.
Yeah, we're all furries on Halloween.
We're all furries on Halloween. I mean, a classic, honestly. and then you just did a Christmas song called Shadow Angels.
Yeah.
All of which were music videos, not just like a song. They had videos accompanying them. Um,
I can't believe you already saw that, by the way. Like, I just put that out today. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. And I guess the follow up to that would be, um, what's spurred on the further pursuit of that? Like, because I know you've done music videos before, but from my recollection, they were a bit more spread out. You've been doing it one
Yeah.
after another. What is it? Just an increase in your ability to stay motivated? Like, what's spurred this on? What's been?
Um, I don't know. I think like I don't necessarily know if it's a good thing or not. Like it's I personally like it. It makes me happy. But
Mm-hmm.
like also I think what's happening is that I like if we're being honest is I think I'm caring more
Mm.
about it, which like I don't know. I don't know what that's like cuz like my big thing for a while like my identity with music was like I don't care. I do it for me and like whatever happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I had like 20 songs and I didn't share them with anyone because they were mine, you
Yeah.
know? And like now I'm literally just taking those songs and I'm like writing a bunch of new songs and I'm like I want to do good and I want people to like me like my music now
Mm-hmm.
so that like I can actually do something with it. And that's
Mm.
weird.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
so it's almost evolved from like a personal, like a private hobby in a way. Like I do this for me. It's sort of a self care thing. To like a, I don't know, would passion be the word? I don't know. I don't know if that would be the word you're looking for. But like
I
it's
mean like
evolved past that initial. It's just a hobby I do.
I don't know because like it's I guess it's got become more of a passion, but like as it's become more of a passion, it's also become more of a business.
Mm.
And I still hate that side of it so much.
Yeah.
Like self promotion and like
Oh, I know you do.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know, bothering. I always feel like it's bothering people when I'm like, oh hey, like check out my channel. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
When
I
people
get
do
you.
that, it bugs me. So like, I just don't.
Yeah. I That's why I haven't really done that with this yet. I don't think I've messaged the improv chat about it once. I mean, I used to back when it was a WVKC radio show because like that's an Ox
Yeah,
thing. This is like a me thing, and so it's like
yeah.
I don't know if I'll do that yet. I'm sure one day I'll just like throw it out there and be like, there it is. You did it.
Well, no, honestly though, like what I'm realizing recently, and like again, it's good and bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
that as it's becoming more of a business and more like I'm marketing, I'm realizing like people don't. I don't know. People like to share in creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Like people actually don't mind me bugging them about it as long as I'm like respectful and tactful about it, and I'm not doing
Yeah.
it 24/7.
As long as you aren't, oh, Adam, the guy who does music and Spotify, and as long as that's not your person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't rub it in when I'm hanging out with people,
Mm-hmm.
but like posting on my music Instagram and like I don't know, like
Facebook, Snapchat, like whatever. That's like it's where you
yeah,
do
that's
that.
non-invasive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not invasive, and like people actually care. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like people care about me, so like people will listen. And I genuinely like you should send this to the imp. People would get a kick out of it.
Oh
People
yeah,
would
for
really
sure.
like what you got. And
I
it's
think
not.
so
I
too.
don't think it's bothering them, honestly. Like I think I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it's nice actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I'm hoping to like with the fresh air stuff. I'm wanting to get other people's work in. So at the very least, I might just send people like, hey, if you got a poem reading or a song that you wouldn't mind me just sharing to the world, I'll link whatever you want to it, and I'll just throw it out there. And I'll be like, I'm not making money off it, nor do I intend to. So, or at least their
Oh
specific
yeah.
thing, I wouldn't intend on making money off of. And if I then eventually did, I'd be like, hey, you're making like most of it because it's your song or
Yeah.
your poem. So there you go. Um, and yeah, and I want to get more for that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
that's a
you
cool way of like putting stuff out there.
for
And
sure.
like I don't know. I appreciate that you're doing that. I appreciate that like
Hmm.
you're getting people's work the one viewer who we're focusing on.
Yeah, exactly. And you did just cut out there, but I understood what you were saying. You were saying it's good that I'm doing it like for the one viewer, or it's just nice that I'm, I guess, because Fresh Air's literally just an open mic, except now it's online. So far, it's only two people, but I I have a Discord server for Fantastic Mr. Blue, which is the channel, which isn't what we're doing this Discord call on, which maybe it should be. I don't know, but
Regrets.
hey, whatever. And but I've invited more people to it, and people are like, "Oh, what's this?" And then I'm like, "Oh, it's this." And the reason I invite people is because they're people I intend to either have on or I just want around, in case
Yeah.
they ever show interest or whatever. And one of them, I think Abby, whose poem they sent me, and I still have to look at it and make sure it is good, or
Yeah.
like I'm sure it
Family
will be.
friendly.
Not even family friendly. Like I don't care too much
Or
about
like,
that. Just like not bad. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
not slandering
yeah.
the.
Which I'm 100. I'm like 98% sure it won't be that. I just haven't looked at it, so I have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
But that should be the next one to come out, and I'm excited to have something that isn't just me and you up there to come out as well. And then I want to start being like, hey, just send it my way if you want. Preferably a
Yeah.
recording of you reading it. I mean, I guess I can read it for you, but I would rather not because it's your work. Um,
Yeah.
you know. But
No, eventually you can get every. I think the goal is to get every person that knocks to
on there,
have a cameo on your channel. Yeah.
that would be great. I mean, that'd be the dream. I don't think that will happen, but we can certainly strive for it.
I mean, with such an esteemed host, I don't know.
Who knows? And the sooner this COVID stuff gets out of the way, the better for that. But um, this music stuff you've been doing, like, it's getting, like you said, it's becoming more and more like a business. And I know, psychologically speaking, I'm a psych major. Hello, I've said this many times already,
Hello.
but hello. Oh, and you're a education major. You're gonna be a teacher.
Yeah, yeah. Really quick, can I just finish like introductions? Because I forgot to do any of that.
Yeah, I know you're fine. Go ahead.
Cool. My name is Adam, Grub Adam, Hunko-Pop, Mommy Rat. I'm a junior.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an education major.
Yeah.
I want to teach kiddos. And Matt and I have been friends since like beginning of freshman year. Met through improv, and he was the first person who made me realize that like freshmen are allowed to be friends with people who are not freshmen in their suite, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool. I didn't know how college worked. So like, Matt's a badass. A bad
Oh,
bleep.
thank
Yeah.
you. Don't censor yourself. The only reason I don't, or I try not to, I guess, is because I do know my parents will listen at some point.
Yeah.
um,
My parents ain't listening. Don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah. So,
I might actually.
but also there will be probably other content where I don't hold myself back, I guess. But I'll make that clear when that does come.
Yeah. Obviously, when you release your first heavy metal cover.
Yeah, that just comes with the territory,
Mhm.
but yeah, like ass is not a horrible word.
Yeah. Ass is one of the best.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree.
That's all on that line of conversation.
Yeah.
That's my introduction.
That's your
That's
introduction.
me.
Yeah. No, I think this happened also with the Trisha one, where I think the introduction was like 1/3 of the way through, because we would just end up talking about whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess
I,
yeah, I guess my question for you, right, would be, I'm gonna give a bit of a personal anecdote to segue into this question, because as I think has maybe been said before, Knox College Improv Club, that's a thing that I'm a part of, you're a part of, a lot of people I've interviewed have been or are a part of. And I was president for a time, and I remember when I was president, there is an element of when improv club becomes more like a business, or even if you're an exec, and I don't want to say it takes away from the enjoyment, because it changes it, and that's sort of what I'm segueing to. Like, seeing it more as like a business, as a thing you're working on, changes your relationship with it. And I've really enjoyed being back to not being on exec and just sort of enjoying improv. How has how do you think, rather, because you may not know for sure, like, you said you don't really like that it's becoming more on the business side of things in a way, but are there some positives to that you've been enjoying, or what do you think
Yeah, I
comes with
mean,
that?
I don't know. It's interesting. I haven't like I don't know. Like it's always in the back of my head, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
tend to think about it too much, like concretely like that. But I mean, definitely, it's been cool. I think I've grown through it
Mm-hmm.
in my confidence as like a member of society that can contribute valuable things.
Yeah.
Cause like I'm still going into it with like the same mentality since I've been making music since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think I'm going into it with the same mentality as I had when I was a kid, which is like, you know, I'm just a boy. Like I'm just a little lad. Like I
Yeah.
you know, what I do, no actual people have to care about.
Yeah.
Like if I do it and you like it, it's probably because your mom or my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and like not because I actually have a worthwhile product that I contribute to society.
Okay.
So like the fact that that's shifting, and now I'm like actually seeing that I can. I don't know. It feels like an adult thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like an actual grown up. And it's
Like
pretty cool.
an actual grown up, like doing something with your skills, and or you know, and I'll call them skills because I know the word talent sometimes has a lot of weight. It's like, oh, duh, talent. I'd say you're
Yeah.
talented, but you know,
Thank you.
like and I am not like I'm not an Adam Roth stan, you know, like I haven't sat through every single second of every single video you've made. Um,
Good.
good. Um,
You haven't seen the ones where I gossip about you yet.
oh shoot, they're hidden at the end of those improvised rap videos.
Yeah.
You know,
Every, yeah.
it's
Every
just
video, I try to post a little teaser where I make fun of you.
yeah, where you know I
Brutally.
won't see it. Yeah, but
I brutally tear into that cake.
but
Go on.
yeah. No, but from what I've seen, I think your work has even been improving. I think. Like
Ooh.
I think the quality of your videos one. Like the Shadow Angel video had layering to it. It wasn't just you singing, and it had like layering of other singing as well. The imagery was good. Um, silly. It had the Adam silliness, right? Like the leapfrog happening on the beach.
Yeah.
It had like that good amount of Adam silliness that I think is, at least for now, I think it's kind of staple. Like like that video. Everyone's afraid on Halloween. I think there's a staple like Adam silliness to it. I don't know. There's probably a better word than silliness, but you know what I think. You know what I mean. Like,
I totally do. I was talking to Ty, our
mm,
friend Ty,
yeah,
earlier because he also watched the video, and he was like, I was expecting it to be silly, but it was also wholesome, and I was like, yeah, no, that's currently my MO. Is like
yeah,
I just take the silly side of me and the wholesome side of me, and I just magnify them,
yeah.
and I put them on my YouTube.
And I think that's what comes through in your like music videos. I think your more like improv ones definitely I think probably focus a bit more on the silly side, but that's the point, right? Like
Yeah.
that's that's the point of those. But I from what I've seen, I don't know if you just have better equipment or you're just more used to editing, maybe all of the above. But I think your videos have been improving in terms of quality as well. And I don't know if that's a side
Awesome.
effect of time or a side effect of you looking at it more businessly, we'll call it.
I mean, it might be. I like now that I don't know. I think I used to have the attitude with everything. Like, I don't care what other people think. I want to do what makes me happy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I've been shifting into like, I want to do what makes me happy, but I also want other people to be made happy by what I do.
Yes.
Um, so like now I'm actually giving a little more effort.
Honestly, I think that's the definition of maturing, right? Isn't that a thing people say? People say maturing is realizing that your actions have affect other people.
Gosh, maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. Maybe it was
That's
me.
fair.
Maybe
Oh
I
God.
said it, and it means nothing.
You just did.
I
You just
just
did. So it's a
yeah.
quote by Matt Cagle now.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, I don't know. It's possible. Also, I'm getting better at stuff.
Yeah,
I figured
obviously.
out how to. I figured out for this for Shadow Angels. This was the first one I figured out how to film in 4K on my phone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, apparently my phone can just do that, and I didn't yesterday.
See, there you go. It improves steadily, moment by moment. You know, and that's good.
Yeah. Oh,
That
for
is really
sure.
good.
Do you feel like?
You're good.
Can I ask you a question? Since you like related
Yeah,
this
for
thing
sure.
to your like presidency and improv, did you feel like yourself change through from like the beginning of being improv president to the end?
I would say yes, and here's how. I've talked about this a bit before with like my improv friends and things like that, but I think I definitely realized like the it was my first real moment of experiencing what I think a lot of older people experience, which sounds a bit silly, but I had this thing of like the good old days, the nostalgia for the improv of my freshman year, which makes sense because it got me through so much. The improv club of my freshman year and sophomore year too, in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And I think I wanted it to be that, but and we did a good job. I'm not downplaying. I'm not saying I did horrible because of this thing. I think it's just a thing I had to learn over time was that um and I think this will be helpful later on is recognizing that things change. The people involved change. Just because it worked back then doesn't mean it's
yeah.
going to work now, you know? Um
Well, also like being in charge of a club like is such a different thing, like for you personally,
yeah.
than like because I think it's definitely like totally possible that you like running the club, you and Simone running the
Yeah.
club did for some freshmen and sophomores what it did for you your freshman and sophomore year.
I'd like to
But
think
like,
so. Yeah. That's what I'd like to think. And yeah, and I think that's the other thing too. More so having come out the other side of it. Cuz unlike let's say you making music, you don't really see the product of your presidency. I think this is true of any club, organization, or even like everything in general. I don't think you see the true result until after you're done,
yeah,
until it kind of comes to an end, and you can look at where the club still is and is it alive? Is it prospering? And then you can go, okay, I did a good job because the club is still around
yeah.
and prospering, not just around, but prospering. And the club is currently very like
Oh, for
considering
sure.
the COVID and everything, it's prospering. Like even if there
Yeah,
wasn't
people
COVID, I would consider it doing pretty well.
oh, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
new people
but yeah,
coming and yeah.
that's an though. Like, sorry, I think I might be cutting out.
You were cutting out just a bit, but I think we're back to
But
equilibrium here.
yeah, I think that's an interesting thing though. Like that you brought up that like music, you can see like a lot of it's measurable in numbers in like the results.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not numbers I have to like constantly maintain. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I can put something up and I can, I don't know, or number of views or number of people listening.
Yeah.
But like with running improv or like that kind of thing, the the whole basis is like, are people happy? How about now? How about now? Are they
Mm-hmm.
happy now? Huh?
Yeah.
And like that's way more vague and like way more
Mm-hmm.
of something you have to like consistently ask.
And it's not something you can always see via numbers either, because let's say like in the grand scheme of things, yes, more people showing up to shows, that's good. Like there are number elements to it, but also there were times, and there are times, where there just aren't a lot of people at rehearsal, and it's you have to understand that it is not a failure on your part. Now, if it always is happening and there's no secondary explanation for it, then yeah, probably. But like most of the time, it's close to midterms or a group of friends are having a really hard time or something else is going on. Um, that you have to recognize, and just try to make the people happy who do show up, and cherish the people who show up all the time. um, that's where people like Richie and though the group of like Ty, you, and like there's a group of people that always show up like just 5 minutes late, which I just, it's wonderful. It's the Knox Five. It has to happen. But like
Hmm.
cherishing those people, and really, like, I've talked to Alexis and Casey recent, like last term, and I was like, yeah, you really notice even more than you did before the people who always show up, and they're like, yeah, and it's like, yeah, because you just end up falling in love with them. like
Hmm.
like when you're a part of the club, you don't notice as much because you only notice when you show up, but when you're president and you're always there, also you notice. And you're always looking to see who's showing up. You always are like Richie is a great example. He shows up,
Yeah.
he's there, and he's there usually pretty early too, and you're just like, yes, Richie's here. It'll be okay, right? It's a reassurance of it'll be
Yeah.
okay. Richie's here. um
Yeah, I feel that too. Relating it back to music, like
yeah.
there's a couple people, just like a couple people who like consistently watch my videos and like consistently like it's me being like, hey, nice,
Hmm.
good thing that you did, and like it is something where it's like as long as these like two people, like my mom and like my one friend here and my one friend there, are watching my videos.
Yeah.
And like my dad, once my mom tells him about it,
Yeah. Then it'll be
like,
okay.
well, yeah, then like as long as they're, then like I'm doing something okay, I guess.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, and then if they don't show up, like that's shattering.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what
Whoa.
happened?
What happened? Are they okay? Am I okay? um yeah, I mean, for sure, 100%, that is the case. Like, and I think that's another part of maturing in a way, is realizing that, like, while you should try to be an independent person, I mean, the amount of uh I'll quote Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender, because why not? Like, he says, believing in yourself is a good thing, but a little belief from others can go a long way. That's what it is. It's like you should believe in yourself, obviously, but I mean, help from others, that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
And it can help a lot. And that's, and I think when you're producing something, you need that even just a little bit more, because like there's a lot of work that goes into making the product, right, of anything,
yeah,
minus some things, right? um,
yeah. Some
Music's
things
an
are,
example of something. Anything that you put maybe a lot of editing work into, like for example, Skyline is for my own enjoyment. There's not a whole lot of editing that goes into it, um, and it's really just me recording conversations anyway. But like something like I'd say Fresh Air in a way, because it is the product of people's creative work, or me editing the Raindrops, are just random videos. They can be anything, but I edit them usually, and I try to cut them together well. Like those sort of things, there's more effort put in, so you're more like, do people
yeah.
recognize that or not? Or, um, but yeah, no, but
I mean, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
a nice thing about like about Skyline too, is like even there, at least in the moment, you're getting like support, because this is like a mutual thing.
yeah.
Like we're both putting effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like the people who come onto your Skyline care about you and the project, and
For
so
sure.
like that's nice. That's like even if you're not putting in a million hours of work afterwards, you're putting in work to like make it happen,
Yes.
and like you're getting at least one person's support.
That is true. That is what's really nice about this, is because it's like at least one person will remember or know the conversation.
Yeah,
At least
and
there will
then,
be one person who remembers.
you
Um,
can look back and like be like, oh, I said that.
yeah,
You know?
that's the selfish reason for all this. It's almost a time capsule for me, so I can later go back. I mean, like the big picture, which on my channel it's a liked playlist, so you can go to the Fantastic Mr. Blue, look at playlist, and just click, and you can find the videos from the
Ooh.
big picture, even though it's not on the channel. It's like, the whole, like, you can link
Yeah.
different videos or whatever. And I can listen back to those and go, oh wow, that was only a couple years ago, and I feel like I'm jumping back in time, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's crazy how much like changes in a year or two in terms of how you interact with the world and how
yeah,
you carry yourself with your voice and everything.
yeah. And this is maybe, I mean, this conversation can be whatever, but I think that's a big part of time as well, because I was talking about like, do you think time played a part? Which time always plays a part, and you getting better at music. I think I've slowly, and Skyline compared to the big picture is far less of an interview show. Like I don't have, whereas I would before, I don't have a list of questions. I don't have, like I have things I want to talk about and ask maybe, but it's not strictly a interview show. Whereas the big picture was, but nonetheless, I've gotten better at interviewing, at doing these sort of things. I'm able to keep conversation going. And or bring it
Yeah,
back, like if we went too far off and it's like, well, let's bring it back. I
yeah.
don't feel like we tackled all the things there.
I
That's
mean,
the
that's a
skill.
crazy skill.
Yeah. But I think that's no different than music. And I need to, my guitar's literally over there. I haven't touched it in maybe a couple weeks, and I need to do that. Um,
I
luckily,
mean, that's
yeah.
fine. I haven't developed any new skills since I've been home.
Yeah. Luckily, I feel at least that, I mean, my fingers will need to readjust a bit, but at least in terms of knowing chords and stuff, I don't feel like that. Muscle memory is what I would need to build back up after having not done it for a bit. But in terms of just base knowledge, I still have that. Like, oh, that's that chord, that's that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Honestly, learning guitar is super, super cool, but like, you gotta be motivated. I don't know.
mhm.
Like, if you're not, take it easy. Don't. That's my opinion, at least. Don't
Yeah,
pressure yourself to do anything.
yeah.
Like, especially it's winter break. Like, do whatever the heck you want.
That's honestly kind of the position I've slowly adopted. It's something I want to continue to learn how to do. But for example, unlike you, it's not a business of mine. It's
Hmm.
honestly more self care. And right now, my self care has been playing The Witcher 3. And so I just haven't been
Good.
playing guitar as much. But it's there, and I know it'll always be there. And I can play it at any time. And
Yeah.
it's not looking at me and going, "Why aren't you playing me?" It's going at me and going, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here when you wanna." Um,
Aw.
and that's reassuring.
I like that your objects talk.
Yeah,
And they're so supportive, too.
they are very, very. Some are supportive. Some objects are not.
Oh, such as.
Uh, what's a non-supportive object in this room? Um, I feel like the door to my bedroom isn't.
Oh, interesting. Why not?
You get up and you look at the door and you're like, gosh, I should get up, and the door's just like, yeah, you should get up. Which I guess is sort of supportive in a way, but it's more like you gotta start
No,
your
that's like
day.
tough love.
Yeah, you're like, ugh. Meanwhile, your bed's like, nah, take it easy. Your covers are like, ain't it warm here? Take it easy. But then you're looking
Ooh,
at the
I feel
door
like your
to
bed,
start your day,
yeah.
and you're like, ugh, gosh.
Gosh, your door are the shoulder angel and the shoulder devil, and neither of them are at all supportive.
Yeah, it's just like, nope, not at all the case. Oh,
Yeah, I feel that. My unsupportive object has been the kitchen sink.
hmm,
Because my task when I come home, my parents have decided, like the way I contribute to the household, which is very minimal. I should be doing more.
for sure.
The dishes,
Okay, so the
and
dishes are your thing.
yeah, and they pile up, and I always do them like after dinner and after I've chilled out for a bit. So like my parents are, and it's usually like recently, usually like 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, gotta do the dishes still, but now I gotta be extra. Gotta
Quiet.
tiptoe through. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
like pull myself out of the cozy bed I've made for myself and do dishes, and that's
Not the
pretty
funnest thing.
supportive, honestly.
No, not very supportive at
Yeah,
all. Dang.
my dishes whispering dirty little nothings into my ear. Mm-mm.
My one work I gotta do for my house is yard work, which is nice because then when winter comes around, it's like there ain't a lot of yard work to be done.
So are you gonna have to do things such as
uh,
snow?
yeah, I mean, that's something I do. Do. Haha.
Ew, Matt. I thought you were trying to keep this your end of the show family
family
friendly.
friendly. Doo-doo's not
Your
family
parents are going to
friendly.
be watching this.
Yeah, it's not good, honestly. But yeah, no, I do.
Let's just start over.
Yeah, I shovel snow over winter. That I guess would be my chore. I do shovel snow.
You do
Shovel snow.
excellent. Nailed it. First take.
First take, nailed it. Nailed it. Oh, that's a really good question. Actually, you've made me think of a question that I think will be a good. Oh, look at you bouncing around on the camera there. You were like,
Yeah,
you were like all over there for a moment.
that was a little bit of a glitch. I promise I wasn't just goofing.
But that's a good segue, I think, because I've talked about here just what I do is like I'll record something, I'll edit it if I need to, like if things go horribly wrong, or like the Fresh Airs we recorded, for example, the one editing I have to do is put the image over top because it's just a black screen,
Yeah.
and which isn't a lot of work, and then I have to increase the volume because we purposely put the volume low so we wouldn't pick up any distant noises because we were in a field. We wanted it to just pick up what we were doing.
Right.
Which worked out great because when I increased, like if you listen to it, you can't really tell we're out in a field.
Yeah.
Not 100%. It sounds pretty good. Like I'm surprised how good it was.
It felt like almost studio quality with like a little bit of background.
Yeah, just the tiniest bit of which I think is perfect for what it is. And but for you in making music, I'm wanting to, if possible, peel back the curtain a little bit, look behind it. Like for you, let's take your newest release, Shadow Angel. So if everyone's afraid on Halloween is a more helpful example, let me know. But what's the start of that process? Is it just like you go, do you already have a song like written and then you're like, oh, this would make a great video? And if so, how do you decide? Like, what's step one? Is step one like, oh, that's a cool rhyme? Like what's the what's the
Yeah,
Adam Roth creative steps?
Good question. I don't 100% have an answer, but I've done more songs than I had last time I was asked this question years ago. So,
yeah,
let's see if I have any better answer than I had then. I think I definitely like start by. I actually start by having a tune. Like I'm just like humming something. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I have a tune and I just have it sing on my phone somewhere, like in my recordings.
Yeah.
I just take a video of it, like myself singing it or like playing it on guitar that I forget about till like months
later when you're looking through your recorded tunes.
Yeah, and then apart from that, I'll be like having conversations with people or just like run around and I'll think of a cool phrase. So like particularly with Shadow Angels, I was like, oh man, what are you supposed to like the whole idea for the song is like you can't make snow angels because I'm in Miami. So what do we have instead? How do we make it like a nice Christmas?
Yeah, exactly.
And so then I thought of the phrase shadow angels. I was like, oh, that's pretty. That's something. Or like I have another song called Shooting Stars in Hypothermia. And it's just a cool phrase
it is
that like someone said in conversation. And I was like, I'm going to steal that. So that's like where I start. And then, I don't know, I just like, then I think about like what I want to say with the song. I put like the first verse together. I'm like, oh, these words sound cool here. And then I'm like, all right, what does this mean now? Like, what do I want people to actually think about with the song? And then usually I like, I don't know. Then it's a process of combining. I start recording stuff. I start laying down basic tracks most of the time while I'm writing stanzas to see how it sounds. And then like, by the end, I'll usually like have half a song that's lyrics written and vaguely produced.
Yeah.
And then eventually I'll get around to the other half. I'll write inspiration to to write like the finishing bits, put it all together, spend hours and hours like recording and re-recording takes,
Mm.
harmonies right, and like figuring out why this part feels like something's missing, and like a bunch of stuff audio wise.
Oh yeah.
And then for Shadow Angels, I don't know. So far, I'm still working on my music videos,
Yeah.
but like for me, what's worked best is like since my vibe is kind of like wholesome silly,
Yeah.
it really works for me in terms of making music videos easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like literally all I did a few takes of like me singing
The
the
song.
vocals,
Yeah.
and like I recorded those on video, but then I also like the parts that aren't me singing, the actual like visuals with some leapfrog and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just went over to my friend Logan's house and I was like, all right, let's play.
Yeah.
And we just played. Like, we literally just played. And he was like, you want to go on my roof? I'm like, so then we got some cool roof shots. And, like we just goofed for an hour. And, like, then I pieced the parts together from that hour of goofing that worked
Yeah.
for video.
And that.
And, like, there it is.
And there it is.
That's it.
I mean, there you go.
I don't know.
That answers my question of how that works. Because I think the other recent classic, you have many music videos, but the other recent classic, Everyone's a Furry on Halloween, also is very clearly a lot of that let's just goof in there.
Yeah.
For sure. And you're right, it works 100% for your style and like kind of who you are, because your music anything you produce is somewhat representative of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that shines through.
That's something I don't want to do. That's
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad. Because, like, as I get more businessy, I never want to sacrifice, like, making myself happy with the music I make.
For sure. No. And, I mean, I don't think you will, unless you all of a sudden get picked up by, like, a multi-billion-dollar music corp or something.
Yeah. If any multi-billion-dollar music corps are listening to SKYLINE,
yeah,
give me a ring.
For sure. Now, I don't know if they'll go back to these episodes, but if you do, hello.
Yeah, hi. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. You know, I don't know what year. It might be, you know, who knows who's president by the time you're listening to this, you know? Who knows what the world is like?
Probably Barack Obama.
Probably Barack Obama, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And yeah, no, I'm willing to sacrifice my individuality if you're listening and you're a multi-billion-dollar music company.
Is there an amount of money you would sacrifice that for?
A bit, yeah. In reality, no. That would ruin the whole point. Then there's no point to music.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. I was wondering if there was a point where you'd sell out. Just completely.
No, actually, I have a rule with myself, and I hope I'll follow it. But like, my rule is, if I ever get famous, I will stop music, or like I will stop releasing music.
Oh wow.
Because, like, in terms of like the point where I go out on the street and like everyone's recognizing me.
Yeah.
Because that feels like such a sacrifice of humanity.
Well, yeah, because there's also a difference between like you go out once and someone goes, "Oh, I know you from this one thing," and also every time you go out, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A huge for me is like separating like myself as a person from the music I make. Like, the music is just a thing that I do.
Yeah.
Like, I would say, when I'm hanging out with people, I don't talk that much about music unless like they want to talk about music. Like,
yeah, like what we're doing now.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. If people like see me for my music, that's what I don't want.
What you don't want, yeah. Dang.
Anyway.
I mean, that makes sense. It would be a bit dehumanizing in a way. But I think you've got a long ways to go until then. Like what? There are quote unquote famous YouTubers, right? Or whatever, who they don't get bothered every time they go outside, you know. It's an occasional thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm fine with like Drew Gooden levels of fame.
Right? Yeah. You're fine with like fame, just not, you know what we're talking, like big fame, like Taylor Swift
Yeah.
fame. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
that being
Maybe a few
said,
layers down from Taylor Swift fame would be the line,
yeah.
but you know what I mean.
That being said, how fun would it be to sing a song with Taylor Swift?
Oh, it'd be great. It really would be good.
Like we get all our friends and Taylor
Mm-hmm.
Swift to sing a song together.
Yeah.
That would be cute. That would be a fun party.
Yeah, and another thing to jump off of that, because I think we talked on it a bit, like right before we left for break, but like you mentioned, you've become more confident in your music, and I think that comes with just or sharing your music even, and I think that
Yeah.
comes with just like what you were saying, like part of you putting more effort into it and making these videos and seeing treating it more business, like all of a sudden you're like, huh, like I feel okay being like, hey people, look at my music, this is a thing I do. um I know it's almost Christmas. um like
Right.
we're close to that, and I remember we had chatted about like what's like a personal thing you can do for someone on Christmas. What I do is I send like personal messages to people. And I need to get working on those actually. But I think I had mentioned that you were like, I don't know if I have a thing that I could just give people, and I was like, well, why don't you just improvise a song for them and then send it to them? Like, do you feel like the confidence you've acquired is slowly building up to a point where you just feel more comfortable like playing music just in general for people or around people? Um,
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Bit by bit.
yeah.
It's just because that's such a cool idea
Mhm.
of like a thing I can do for free that like actually means something.
Yeah,
That's not just like a throwaway gift.
exactly. That's why I said it, because like I think you had offhanded said you didn't have something like that, and I went, "Nah, you do. You got something you could do."
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be like a music video to make someone happy. I compared it to like art, people who do art. How a lot of time people who do art are like, I don't know if I want to share this with them because it's not a complete work. It's like most people are just happy you did something for them artistically.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, like anyone, there's been like one or two people who have actually mentioned that they might get me this gift, and like that's what means more to me is like the fact that they actually thought, oh, Adam's someone I want to get a Christmas gift for.
mhm.
Like, I don't think I'm doing Christmas gifts for anyone, although maybe I will now. But
Yeah.
because I do feel like it would be cool and it would be sweet.
And also I
But
feel like gifts and like what I do, for example, they're different, right? But
yeah,
yeah.
but like being thought of is, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I thought a bit about like what drives humans, and like it's not really a question you can answer with one thing.
Hmm.
But I think being like thought about is a huge thing for people.
Yeah.
Like a huge
Is knowing that there are people who support you and all that kind of thing, or think
Mhm.
about you
Or like no, even just like knowing you exist. Yeah,
even.
people would like yeah,
That's why
like
people are always like, "Oh, do you guys talk about me when I'm not around?" Like people who think about that a lot comes from that same place.
yeah,
I think it's like, "Oh, do people think about me when I'm not
yeah, and
around?"
it's why like people with like people sometimes obsess over like like with gossip. Like if you hear people gossiping about someone, you're like, oh shoot, what do they say about me?
When I'm not here, yeah,
Yeah,
I think about that
people.
sometimes,
Yeah,
but I just
but
I
like
just accept it. I just go like, "Yeah, I know."
yeah, fair.
Mm.
That's yeah, because if I don't know, it's an easy trap of like, oh, people think about me. Nope, too much. You're thinking about me too much now. You're
Yeah,
thinking about my bad things. Not good.
yeah.
So like,
Mm.
yeah, you seem like you're in a good place of like, people think about you, but like, you don't base your entire life around
Hmm.
it.
And also, I am fairly confident fairly, that in terms of gossip, there's a few points you could hit me on in terms of negative gossip, I'm sure. But for the most part, I think at the end of it all, any gossip about me would end with like a, at the very least, like a neutral, he's
Oh
all right.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like there's any gossip going around that's like, this guy is the epitome of evil. You know?
yeah. It makes me wonder though, like a what would I have to do to get people to think I'm evil?
Mm-hmm.
And like, would I care?
Yeah.
I think I would, but like, would I?
I think it also
Yeah.
depends because sometimes one action can sometimes leave like a bad taste in someone's mouth forever, or leave a bad impression. Like I'm sure I've left bad impressions on people to the point where they, if they, I said they'd probably, here's what you'd probably get a lot of. I think this is what a lot of people have is, I mean, I only ever talked to him once, but my opinion was this. Like you'll get that. Like you talking to people too, you'll mention a name and they go, "Ooh, I had this one interaction, didn't like him very much." You know what I mean? Like that will come up. And I think that's fine
Oh,
because at that point it is like just a base like they don't know the person, they don't know me if that does happen, right? And I'm not offended by that. It's like, oh,
yeah.
they had one interaction with me or whatever. That like maybe I was in a class with them and I raised my hand one too many times for them or something, or
Oh gosh, I have a story. I my like first day of classes ever, freshman year
Mhm.
college. I was in a class with my like now one of my like best friends on campus, Helen.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a theater class, and I don't know. The teacher was like saying something about like like encouraging the female plays because it used to like in old fashioned ways it wasn't done very much, and like we should encourage the female voice.
Yeah.
And I was I made like I thought I was clearly being sarcastic because obviously like a place where we like encourage each other's identities and like
Mhm.
I don't know I myself as like not someone who would ever say this, so I thought it was obvious that I was being sarcastic when I was like, ugh, a world in which women have voices, I could never.
Okay.
And I found out a year and a half later, that she thought I was being serious because I said it like really dryly, and so she thought I was like the like worst guy for like a
And
full half
you
a
know what that
year.
tells you? I mean, she might have been the one person who thought that when you said that, but maybe other people also were like, hmm.
Yeah.
But that's
So
just first
like
impressions. But then you got to get to know Helen better, and like that image is gone because that's how that
yeah,
works.
like
But there are
like
most definitely people out there in the world who their only impression of you is that you cut them off in traffic,
yeah.
you know? And you're just a horrible human being. You're a wretch, you know? Like, and that's fine. And I think that is fine. And I think that's why I think, like, when I am mad, like, the people we want to know if they think about us are usually people close to us or close enough to where we're like, oh, I wonder what they think. Close enough in an emotional sense. So sometimes, like, if someone has a crush, they'll be like, oh, what do they think? But that's just because they're
Yeah.
emotionally close. But even then, I'm confident enough to know. Or I guess some people suffer from anxiety and things that make them think in negative ways about this. But I'm confident that at the end of the day, any gossip conversation would end with people I care about would end with like at the very least he's okay. He's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm confident about that. I'm confident
Yeah.
that it wouldn't end with like, oh, this guy, oh, you know.
Well, I think yeah,
There might be a
because I think
moment
in
in the
general
gossip
everyone.
conversation where they're like, oh, but it would end with sort of like, but at the end of the day.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone kind of sucks, like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit at least. Like at some point in their life, everyone sucks.
Everyone's got
So
something you could complain about. Every friend you have, there's something you could go, ugh.
so like I feel like as long as a person you can like see that a person's like trying,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like okay, well maybe this thing that they did sucks, but like at least this dude's trying, you know?
And I think that trying and that caring is a big part of just how to deal with, how to know that that's like the greatest safeguard against gossip is if you actually care and are trying.
Yeah.
Because at that point, no matter what people say, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, uh, making my way downtown, you know, uh,
Walking fast.
something's passed. I don't remember the
And I
lyrics.
feel, and I'm homebound.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
but, and that is a wonderful segue. We are a bit over an hour, but I wanted to talk about this because I said we'd come back to it. We've talked a bit about your music, your process. I feel fairly content with that. People should check out Adam's music. It's become a bit more of a business for him, but he still loves it. And like we said, Adam's spirit is in it. You should totally check it out. I like it.
yeah. I will never let my business override my music. My
Yeah.
channel's Adam Roth.
Adam
Yeah.
Roth, yeah.
You should also, speaking of, since Matt brought this up earlier, you should check out the big picture videos list linked in one of the playlists.
Yeah.
Because they're cool too.
Certainly too. And there's an Adam one in there too. So if you liked this and want to hear more of me and Adam talking, I think in that one was our April Fool's one. I think there are two Adam ones actually from the big picture. There's an April Fool's episode and there's the last one because I did the last one with you. So if you liked this, there's more of it.
Oh yeah.
Out there.
You can hear our sultry voices going back at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
But you had mentioned a progression you've had. And like we said, this is also a great safeguard against gossip, but we've transcended past the gossip conversation of caring more. You said yourself, close to the beginning of this, that in recent time, and maybe you can clarify like when that transition was, if it was a moment or just like a period of time, like you feel as if you've just begun to care more about like, well, I guess clarify what you mean by that, because maybe I have a wrong idea, but
yeah, I don't know. I've had a weird relationship with caring my whole life. Because, like, let me take you back to the beginning, Matt. When I was just a lad, when I was just no, I was very, like, I cared a lot about what I thought was right and wrong, and, like, if the image that I had. And then one day, one of my best friends called me, was like, Adam, you're so by the book. And it stuck with me. And then as I grew, I was like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to be the book anymore. I want to be my own book, write my own story. I don't want to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And then I, like, developed the attitude, which is my more recent attitude of, like, people don't have to like me as long as I'm being, like, my authentic self, which is like a
Your
self that
authentic
changes
self,
every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's not being is not one thing, but as long as I'm doing that, like, who cares?
As long as you're being your authentic self every day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But that did lead me to an insane, like, high school experience.
Yeah.
Just like, because I developed a really close friend group of, like, people who were also, like, whatever, like, let's go on adventures and, like, not care what people think. And, like, a lot of things happen.
You cut out a bit there, but
everything
you
was
said
based in wholesome.
a lot of things happened, but they were mostly based in wholesome. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, but, like, a lot of things happened.
Sure.
Like, we were definitely public nuisances on multiple occasions.
Okay, yeah. You guys were the neighborhood nuisances in a way. You were the... Yeah.
We would go to the mall and just, like, sprint around and, like, make noises.
I know the type you're talking about. I've certainly done that. I've been part of those groups.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, like, I think now, I don't know. I do think, like, growing up and being a big boy, like, at least I've started to think about, like, hey, this is actually bothering someone.
Yeah.
Let's not. Like, come on. There's some stupid, wholesome fun that we can bother each other without bothering random people.
Yeah.
And like there's wholesome fun that we don't have to bother each other too.
That's very true.
Anyway, so like my relationship with caring, then like freshman year of college, I went over the top. I cared too much about like social dynamics and everything.
Really?
But like, mm, I can make college exactly what I want it to be, and I can make sure that my friends are like getting along and like being non-clicky,
I see.
and like I can do that.
Yeah, but you can't. You can't control the intricacies of social interaction in
Yeah,
that way.
I mean like I yeah
You can, but like there's a limit to it. Eventually something will slip through, you know? Like you can't
yeah.
maintain it forever.
So I guess I don't know. I guess like now I'm in the place with caring where it's like I I don't know, setting my own boundaries for my own mental health is most important.
Yeah.
Being who I and then like outside of that just be who I am, like but like also give a crap about other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's basic stuff,
It's a
honestly.
it does sound but it's easier said than done because it's a great balancing act what you're talking about. And everyone has to do it. I feel
Yeah,
like
how about yourself? Like
yeah,
where
I
are you
mean,
at with
I always realize that, and I talked to my dad recently about this actually, like, I have this whole thing where like my evolution as a person is I think has a lot more to do with the fact that I moved around a lot as a kid than I give it credit for. Because
hmm,
like the way I emotionally care and attach to people is different because, and I've told you this, like I'm trying to be better about keeping in touch with people, particularly my friends here at home in Marion. Um, and because I realize emotionally I'm able to feel as if my friends, the people I care about, are with me all the time because I just go back to my memory and it's like I'm there. I remember these big
mhm.
moments, and those are what I hold on to make up like my emotional social connectivity. Um, but that's because I moved around a lot as a kid, and so I didn't have one friend group to grow up with that I saw every day. I would have friends that I wouldn't see ever again, and all
Yeah.
I had of them was my memory of them. Um, and that was a big impact. And so now I have this situation where in my caring, I'll do like big things when I'm around. Like I'll send the messages on Christmas. I'll do SKYLINE. I'll bring someone on and do this really nice talk to them thing. But I struggle a lot with just like, because in my mind, I don't think of, oh, let's just sit in a Discord call and hang out as like um, that doesn't immediately jump in my head as like I don't know, emotionally worthwhile thing. Because
Yeah.
for whatever reason, in my mind, I think more on the big moments, on like the events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, the
That is
memorable
interesting.
stuff.
Yeah, that's super interesting that you connected it with like moving around.
Hmm.
Cause like I do feel like
I think that's
I
just what gave me my development of my emotional states of how I deal with that. So I need to learn that other people don't have that constant act, don't hold on to their memories in quite the same way emotionally to where they can feel confident. Like, I feel like friends from elementary school are still right there. And I know they aren't. I know they're horribly different, and I probably wouldn't recognize them or maybe even like them now, but I can go back to those memories and almost still have a friend. And
yeah.
that sounds weird, but
No, no, no.
yeah.
Like I do that too with my particularly like with my photos.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a huge favorites folder of my photos, and like sometimes when I'm sad, I'll just like look back through that, or
Yeah.
like look back through my lists of like fun memories that I've had, and
Yeah.
be like, oh, this is yeah. See, I'm still like even if I'm not friends with this person anymore, like they still exist in my heart.
Yes. No, 100%. And that's how I feel. I just need to recognize that, like, other people emotionally, like how they emotionally function, is the memorable moments are great, the events are great, but what really matters is just being around. It's just being
Yeah.
there. And like I think that can be great too. It's just not what I immediately think of. Like when I'm home alone, I don't immediately think, oh, let's get a Discord call and just vibe. I think, oh, I'm home alone. That's what I think. I,
Yeah.
or I don't go, oh, I'll send a hello message and they'll say hello and I'll say, how are you doing? They say, oh, I'm doing this. And then they say, how are you doing? And I say this. I don't view that as, I think, important as it actually is emotionally. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
But also like having the ability, and I think you do have this ability to like just hang out with yourself and like enjoy your own company.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's a heck of a good way to like ruin the in touch with people who aren't around.
because
At
because
least that's what I've experienced for myself. Yeah.
because you just are so comfortable with yourself that it's like, oh, it's not that I forget, because like I said, my memories, the big moments with my friends, are what I hold on to all the time. It's just like I still feel like I haven't never reached a point where I feel like I couldn't just jump right in with my closest of friends, like people I haven't talked to in forever. Like, sad example, but like Cody who passed or whatever. Like I feel like if I some miraculously met him in like an afterlife or something, that we could just pick right up. Like that's what I
Yeah.
feel, and I feel that way with a majority of my friends. People who have graduated, I feel that way about. That I could just say hi to them and we'd have a wonderful time. Um, but I recognize that some people are like, I haven't talked to this person in a month, and they feel like, oh man, you know. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, so in terms of my
Yeah.
progression of caring,
But that,
yeah, I mean, first of all, obviously, I think, like I said, maturing is realizing that your actions affect other people, and really taking a moment to be like, okay, let's recognize how saying this might affect somebody. And I sometimes flub it up, especially with like my closer friends and like we're gaffing or whatever. Um,
yeah.
but
I
like,
mean,
yeah, because like you're just like teasing or whatever. But then sometimes you go, oh, I shouldn't say that, or what have you. But you know, but for me, my way of caring, like my love language, has always been like when in social gatherings, I like to host. I love being the sort of social host.
mhm.
um, and I do it, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, I notice you do this." It's really just because I want to perform. I want to perform for the people I care about, or just people in general when I'm in social gatherings. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think you said acts of, or like love languages?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think I know the five, but I feel like that's like kind of an act of service kind of thing,
Yeah,
like slash quality time.
I think so too. Like that's always what I say, even with my parents, because I when I realized I did this with my friends, I realized I do it with my parents too. I prefer quality time over quantity time, thoroughly. Like I said, like I sometimes wonder, like, is just sitting in a call and barely talking to each other but just being around, like, emotionally worthwhile? And the answer is yes, it is. For maybe not necessarily for me, but I usually end up finding that it is actually kind of nice for me too. Maybe not as much as for other people, but it is.
Yeah.
um but I'm much more of the mind. That's why I'm always back here. Like my parents hang out in the living room, I hang out back here, because like in my mind I'd rather go out and have a wonderful conversation with my parents for dinner than
Yeah.
just be sitting around not talking to each other doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I do. That's I don't know. I hole up in my room. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I I organize times when people get to see me.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of do the same. um so to answer
It,
your question, I guess that's my, it maybe has less to do with caring, but that's what I'm currently working through right now. Is I think I'm working through the psychosis I developed from the first 7 years of being alive, which was moving around a lot and kind of having. But that's also not to get into. I read a lot of Freud and Jung, so I've been thinking a lot about
mhm.
developmental years. But I also think that's why I am. I'm not to pat myself on the back, but I think I am a relatively charismatic, quick friend maker. It's because I did move around a lot as a kid, and that's what I had to be. And I think that's why I'm a bit of a performer too, because like make people laugh, dance, jester, um,
Dance
um,
monkey, dance. But
yeah.
yeah, no. Also, that makes a lot of sense though, and like it's a very useful skill because like
Mm-hmm.
also now you get the superpower of being able to like take that and apply it to long term friendships.
Yeah,
Like dope as hell. I don't know.
for sure. And that's the thing. You got to try to take the positives and the negatives. The positives are I can go theoretically long periods of time without physically seeing someone or be in a tough situation and feel like my friends are right there, even if they aren't actually. Like I'm capable of feeling that, like emotionally. The negative is that sometimes because of that, I forget that they aren't actually there and that they have different emotional needs than I do of having people be present.
Yeah,
Um, and in the positive of being a host or liking being a host and, trying to entertain people is that can be a fun person to have around. And it's nice to be the life of the party sometimes, to be the person who's like, yeah, let's do this next thing. But the bad side of it is that sometimes you come off as disingenuous, and I feel like I do that because sometimes it's like, oh, you're performing, you're not being you.
yeah.
And I think there's truth to that.
I don't know how much credibility you give like the 16personalities.com kind of thing, the Myers-Briggs or whatever that is.
Not
Like,
much, but yeah.
yeah, no, agreed. No one should.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the two I've gotten that it seems to be a similar place, at least based on this.
Yeah.
I've consistently for the past several years jumped back and forth between what they call like the performer and the mediator.
Mm.
So like I I think it's interesting like the combination of the two, like how you were saying, like kind of bringing people together and connecting people in the way
Yes.
of like performance and of making a scene and of doing a bit and like being exaggerated and hosting and like putting something together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a cool bridge.
Yeah, and I think actually you saying that, I think that is like that is a quality I think we both share in some ways. This idea of I think we both like social groups to be together and happy. And we like to host things. Like you do it a lot with adventures and going out and stuff. But like everyone kind of does. Like I think both of us have had times like the ceremony or watching over the garden wall. Like we like bringing people together, even if they don't know each other that well. Just bring people together
Yeah.
and watch that happen. The
Oh,
social.
that's also fun.
Yeah, I
Like,
thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah,
when I'm not in a mood of performing, I love just bringing people together and then like stepping back and watching them just coexist.
yeah. No, it's a good time.
People are so weird and awkward. It's awesome. Anyway,
And this sort of off topic in a way. I'm wanting to do a new D&D campaign where I'm and a big part of it, and I've invited you to it. And of course, you still have time to decide if you want to or not. But one of the fun things I'm doing with it, as I did with the Nox Free and Wind campaign we've been doing, is it really was just bringing people together who didn't know each other that well. It's kind of what I did. And I think it's more fun to do that because there isn't the baggage of already being friends with everyone in there. But there's also that like you almost want to make a good first impression in the game. So you're like, oh, I better not be an a-hole, Like
yes.
I better be, and I like that tension. I like that wanting to perform a little bit, but also wanting to like, and then I like that D&D can eventually bring that group together. Like the Nox Free and Win campaign, like we all know each other and like, oh, I kind of know you. And
Yeah.
at least in this context, and there's something kind of nice about that. Even if you don't know each other on like a deeper level.
Yeah, I think at the very least, it's like a very cool people challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that, like, I want to be a teacher. Like, that's half the reason why, is because it's a cool people challenge. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's the same sort of thing in a huge way of like,
It's a people challenge.
Yeah, you get a bunch of people and you're like, all right, now I got to make them like each other and not like, literally in game tear each other's throats out.
Yeah, I need to make sure they don't hate each other to the point where the campaign ends.
Yeah.
And I've had my fair share of adversity with that. Like the Free and Wind campaign. Gosh, there's only one person in that campaign who was there from the start. And to be fair, most of that was not inter-party discourse. Most of it was just people moving or leaving, things like that. But still, I managed to keep it together, and that's a people challenge. And for another campaign I was doing that was pirate themed, there was a bit of a falling out with the people involved in that. But and that's a people challenge. But also, like you said earlier, when you were saying I used to care too much, and by controlling everything, you can't control everybody. You really can't.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't either, because sometimes that fight needs to happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like this needed to happen. Boom,
Oh yeah,
it's happened,
absolutely.
right? But that's the big challenge. Is for
That's
me, it's
been
like making sure nobody in this new campaign will hate each other.
yeah. That's my huge thing. Going back to like caring.
Yeah,
I think that's my next step, and like the step I've been working on is like being okay with conflict and being okay with like yeah, I might mess up. I don't know.
being
Even like
okay
with
with
all
it.
my people challenges, like the more people challenges I take on, the more I'm gonna mess up eventually.
Yes, and that's
And
fine.
yeah,
I mean, college is literally almost by definition like the time to make mistakes. It's not the time to, I don't think, dive headfirst into mistakes, but it is the time to dive headfirst into things that will be challenging that may lead to mistakes. It's the
yeah.
time to kind of figure out where your boundaries are, figure out where your limits are.
Yeah.
And
Childhood is the time to dive headfirst into mistakes.
yeah, it's the time to break the vase and then blame it on your sibling. You know,
Yeah.
that's that time. Um, but yeah, like
Adulthood, kind of weird to do that.
but that's what college has been for me, and still will continue to be. Is I'll be like, I'll look at something and go, this isn't an outright mistake. It could lead to a mistake. It could be challenging in that way, and then I'll kind of, especially because I told you this year, I'm wanting to take more risks in general and just dive into experiences. Which again, it's not diving into mistakes. It's saying this could challenge me. This could be possibly a mistake, but I want to see what my limits are, see what my boundaries are, what can I handle, um,
Yeah.
and yeah,
That's,
I think that's just beneficial.
oh, it's beautiful. Do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm excited for spring term, and but yeah, all of that. Um,
Real quick, like before we finish up shop and whatever, I
yeah,
don't know.
which is
Like,
right around the corner, mind you. We'll probably end here in like 3 4 minutes, within the 5, But
okay.
yeah.
Before we end, I on the subject of people challenges, I have
Mm-hmm.
a people challenge I've been trying to complete now for years, and I
Mm.
almost did it this term, and I failed yet again. But
What
I'm
is it?
wondering if you have any suggestions. Uh,
Yeah, what is it? I
so
might have a thing or two.
yeah, I'm trying to develop a nemesis, and
A rival.
yeah, like a full on like an awesome one,
Yeah.
like not someone I don't know. I told it to our friend Sarah Wallenfels.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm looking for a nemesis, and this there you go. And she was like, "Oh, I'll be your nemesis," and I was like, "Sure." And like we played around with it for a little bit. It didn't work
Yeah.
because like there wasn't the power of like
Mm-hmm.
fake hatred or real hatred fueling it. You know?
Yes. Because what you want in a nemesis slash rival is both respect, but also like an element of like, ooh, I'll
We're
get
here
you.
to make each other suffer. Yeah,
We're here.
exactly.
We're here to do battle. Essentially, we're here
Yeah,
to come out on top.
yeah. Essentially, I've been wanting to wage war on something, but like a harmless war.
Yeah. A that's the thing. A respectful, friendly rivalry, right? Like a
Yeah.
nemesis, somebody to.
And to be honest, I just realized the reason why I want this is because when I came to Knox on an admitted students tour,
Yeah.
my host had a nemesis. And they seemed awesome. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm learning drums just so I can be better than him at drums." And I was like, "Awesome!"
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, like I've come close to getting a nemesis, but they always end up being a nice person, and then we end up becoming friends.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's not cool. That's not cool.
Well, you want them to be nice enough of a person, right?
Yeah.
You don't want an enemy, an outright evil you have to defeat. You want a rival. You want a nemesis, someone to do battle with. But at the end of the day, be like, I respect them, but I'm gonna win, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also like I can't always win.
You
I
have to
can't be
lose
better than
sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to have moments where you go, I would have gotten away. I would have. If it weren't for you.
Scallion,
Like
yeah.
Doofenshmirtz, like, curse you, Perry the Plat. You want that moment, like, curse you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take a plat. I'll take whatever. Like,
I'm trying to think of a way to get that. Honestly, I think the biggest thing you could do is find something you like doing. Um, which might be music, and might be teaching, it could be anything. And then go to every possible event that has to do with that you can possibly go to. And you will eventually bump into someone who is a foil to you. And who your music, for whatever reason, just gets on their nerves, and their music, for whatever reason, gets on your nerves just enough.
yeah.
You need to find that moment, and then you need to have this rivalry where you both show up to open mics or like talent shows, and you try to get like the biggest applause. You try to you're like, oh, the crowd liked me way more than you, right? Like,
the dream. You don't understand how much I want this. The more you describe it, the more I need this.
Well, I think it might not come for you in college just because we live in a small area. But I think the key is to just go to as many of those events as possible. And then when you meet that rival and you have that first moment where you're playing your music and you see them in the audience and you're like, they aren't liking what I'm playing. You kind of pick them out. And then when they play, if you are like, oh, I don't really like what they're playing.
Yeah.
Like then you can walk up to them afterward and just like have like really passive aggressive conversation and then just sort of end it with like I can't wait to see how you improve, and or something like that, and be like well, maybe one day you'll be as good as me. Something really like really, and they'll be like, and then that'll fuel them, and they'll be like ready because they already didn't like your music, and they're like, how dare you compare yourself to me or say that you're better, and then you'll be like, well, you'll make something that'll make the audience applaud, like more passive than that, but you know what I mean, like less direct than that. I think that's just what you gotta find. And then you gotta eventually, like, as this rivalry starts, like before it gets too hate filled, is you gotta go, hey, at some point you gotta, hey, I'm not the biggest fan of your music, and I do think my music is better, but and you would say this a bit more easily, but I respect you.
Yeah.
And when you say that is when there's a definite moment where they performed better than you, like where they got more of applause. Yeah. That's when you say it.
Like, won this round.
Yeah, you won this round. Yeah. I respect you.
Yeah.
And then you'll both improve. You'll both improve. Yeah.
God, yeah. I genuinely so disappointed. I missed a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
This past term, I performed at Fall Fest, which was like a music open mic style thing. And I was the open, and I bombed, in my opinion, because I picked 2 songs, and the first one was like a really vulnerable song, and I was like, that's not the mood to open up Fall Fest.
Yeah.
So, and I decided that day of, like 5 minutes before I went on stage. So I recruited like a few people to just like do bits with me for the first 5 minutes of my act, and none of the bits went over at all.
Yeah, none of them.
Like I did like a fake magic trick, and I did like I had one friend who could weird noise with her like cheek, and and I had one friend just tell one knock knock joke, and like nobody laughed, and nobody in the audience seemed amused, and that would have been the perfect time to like develop my nemesis.
Is to find the person who is most like, oh, I hate this.
Yeah, and then come up to them afterwards and be like, hey, I did pretty great.
But what you want to complete the rival arc is you have this built-in respect, you're getting better and better, and then one day you both see like there's this new up-and-coming group, like music group, that's been showing up to open mics that you both clearly dislike. And then you guys come together for one show where you're like, listen, we'll work together this one time just to beat this other band, just to outperform them. And then it'll end, and then you'll just like shake hands. And then 10 years later you'll be wed, you know.
Yeah. That's the dream. That's the dream. That's how I expect my only future partner.
Yeah, is your nemesis. But you know what I mean. Like, that'd be the full arc. And whether or not you reach that, that'd be great, though. Like, imagine that. You're like, one time we'll work together to write a song and then come to this open
I
mic
mean,
and just blow them out of the water.
yeah, I can't. There's not a person in this world I can respect more than my imaginary nemesis right now.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Like, I have to marry them.
But
I have to
just,
find them and marry them.
but just like when people think about the person they would love to marry one day, the person does somewhat exist. You're, of course, thinking of an idealized nemesis. There's going to be parts of your nemesis that do not fit your imagination. They're going to have flaws as a nemesis. You know?
We'll have to go to nemesis counseling.
Yeah. They might not be able to handle your comments so well, and they might be like a visibly emotionally hurt. And you'll be like, no, listen, I was just trying to motivate you. And then you got to go to counseling, and it's like this whole thing. But you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. It's like you'll find someone who will fit that nemesis role. And at some point you'll be like, listen, they have some flaws, but they're my nemesis.
Yeah. And that's what matters on the inside, you know?
And that's what matters.
I need to change my
Mhm.
view of, like, the idealized nemesis. I need to stop holding them on a pedestal and realize that they're just a stupid, evil person, just like me, you know?
And so to parallel that, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta pursue the things you really pursue. And for example, it doesn't have to be music. Maybe when you become a teacher at a school, you'll find a peer teacher, another teacher at that school who becomes your nemesis.
Ooh, I hope it's an old lady.
Mm-hmm. Just somebody who, like, looks at you and goes, I don't like the way you teach, Adam Ruff. And you'll be like, listen, I'm the new hip teacher. The kids love me. Your old ways are old and gone, woman. You know? And then you have this rivalry, but it ends with her when she's, like, getting ready to retire. You show up at her class and you go, you taught me a lot. Thank you. And then you have that moment of, like...
And then you marry each other.
And then you marry each other, and that's how it ends. But you know what I mean? Pursue stuff you like and just keep an eye for that one person who you dislike enough and they dislike you enough, and then go, listen, I could either just have a built-in resentment towards this person, or I could walk up to them and go, you know, you do your stuff all right, but I think I'm doing better, and like as passive a way as possible, and just build that flame of rivalry.
I have a couple of professors who I could have done that with in my day.
Mm-hmm.
Heyday.
Yeah. But hey, it'll come. I'm sure it will. You'll have your rival who you'll marry one day. I believe it.
I'm so excited. Thank you. That's actually isn't genuinely good advice for finding a nemesis.
What? Just pursue the things you like pursuing and go to every event, and then keep an eye out for the one person who dislikes the way you do it. Yeah.
I nailed it.
Because that's what a rival is. That's what a nemesis is. It's someone who kind of does the same thing you do, but different enough, and you can be like a challenge to you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
A nemesis just can't like, for you, a nemesis can't be an accountant who doesn't do music at all, and just because there's no point where conflict would arise. You want a point where you two would meet and conflict would arise.
Yeah, no, that was the professor I was thinking of, was like a professor who is in the STEM field, and who, if we done anything STEM related, oh boy, we would have been chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Nemesis.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
stop.
On that note, for all of you, because it wasn't just advice to Adam to find a rival. This is also advice to everyone else. So I think this episode will probably be called like Hunko-Pop, and
Hunko-Pop finds a rival.
Yeah, Hunko-Pop or Hunko-Pop and finding a rival.
Awesome.
The description will be like, want to learn how to find a rival? Watch the last 15 to 20 minutes of this video.
And actually, that is an open invitation. If someone's watching this or listening to this or whatever, and like wants a rival, or even better, if someone is able to find a nemesis better than I'm able to find a nemesis, then we can be nemesis in nemesis finding.
If you have a nemesis / rival, mention them in the comments of this video. Like tag them,
Yeah,
point them out.
and yeah, and I'll see if any of this any stories.
Yeah. Share your nemesis story down below, you know.
If so, I respect you.
Yes. And check out Adam's music. If you find it slightly irritating and you have your own music style, then you should call him up, send him a message somehow,
Yeah.
comment on one of his videos, and be like, hey, I think I'm better than you.
Yes. The dream.
The dream.
I'm gonna make my music purposely irritating now, just to push the envelope.
You could make a really good like sad song about like you don't have a rival yet and you're looking for your rival.
Yeah. Honestly, I will. That's going on my ideas list.
Awesome. All right. Well, we might talk a little bit more after this recording's done, just to like wrap up and be like, oh hey, this is great. But as far as this episode of Skyline is concerned, this has been episode 6, a bit of a longer one, an hour and 40 some minutes. An hour and 41 minutes by the time this ends, probably. So thank you all for listening. I'll put the descriptions in. Hopefully the audio ends up all right. See you guys for episode 7 with Andrew, my good friend Andrew.
Ooh.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.